Turkey plays a big role in this. Obviously, the Free Syrian Army is comprised of Salafists, jihadists of all different backgrounds, for the record, literally from all the way from the region down to Uyghurs. Okay, they have Chinese Salafists in the Free Syrian Army. Can you explain why people don't like the Syrian president? I don't quite understand, to be honest. I'm missing something. Yes, the thing you're missing is that he was the former leader of Al-Qaeda and straight up beheaded and had a $10 million bounty on his head. You can literally go back. Like, they didn't even delete those tweets. This is straight up correct. No matter which way you cut it. The bounty was on his head a year ago. I mean, he no longer has, I don't think he has the bounty on his head still, but... Oh, but why leftists don't like him now? Is he selling out to the U.S.? Wait, what? Don't like him now? You think the leftists like Al-Qaeda? What are you, stupid? He's a 46-month subscriber. Now, I've never encountered a person who is a self-described leftist that's been like, love Al-Qaeda, man. They're really taking it. They're really sticking it to the man. Sorry, not what I meant. Just I've seen more dislike for him recently. Sorry, didn't mean to say that leftists like Al-Qaeda. No, the reason why people dislike him is because, or didn't really talk about him in the past, is because he was the head of HTS, okay? A former Al-Qaeda, then an op to Islamist movement, Islamist militancy in Syria, okay? But with a big push from Turkey and also all of the initiatives that America and Israel conducted in the region, basically undermining or at least taking the attention that all of the Iranian proxies had in the region with decapitation strikes, they saw an opportunity to strike and take out the Assad regime, which was also very brutal in and of itself. And then in the aftermath of that, Jolani became the de facto leader of the Syrian government. Initially, it was supposed to be a transitional government and there was supposed to be democracy. It's not going to happen anymore. Now it's just he's the president. And everyone is like, he's an institutionalist. He shaved. He cut his hair. Let bygones be bygones. He is, he's only former Al-Qaeda commander. It's not that big of a deal. And now all of the same people are presenting, all the same exact people that say like Hamas is an Islamist fundamentalist jihadist group like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, which is already not true. Okay, it's a nationalist liberation group. Those very same liberals are spending every waking moment talking to us about how this guy is actually a reformed institutionalist. But Evan Hill has a great take on this. He says, I'm not sure we'll ever get a better summation of the forever wars than this. Decades of war and death only for Petraeus to address President al-Shara with honorifics at a think tank event. If you're a special ops Punisher guy, what have you even been fighting for?
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyid Rais.
Ahlan wa
sahlan. And Sharaf Nasadi.
Not the first time Al-Qaeda and CIA has done a collaboration in New York, if you know what I mean. Hey, yo, I'm just saying. They had some crazy collabs, you know? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. You're acting like this was the intended outcome of U.S. policy. Much like Afghanistan, Syria has ended up in a place it is, with U.S. policy suddenly finding itself able to accommodate supposedly anathema movements in spite of 24 years of Washington's conventional wisdom on Islamism, jihadism, and not because of it. It's just funny because it's like this is a lot of stuff that has taken place, in the last year, this Trump administration. Whether it be the conversation that Sunstein had defending liberalism and talking about big tent liberalism, whether it be Donald Trump openly demanding tithing from the vassal states in Europe, or Israel clearly dog-walking America when it comes to foreign policy. All of this stuff that we used to say, and liberals would look at us like we're Alex Jones, but on the left. They're doing it in broad daylight. They're just openly doing it. And now those very same liberals who were like, you are such a conspiratorial asshole for saying these things, are just looking at this stuff and going, no, it's actually good. How dare you? It's just mind-boggling to me. Like, they're openly like, this is us. This is what we do. Rule-based international order means nothing. It's just about a way for America to project power and to create casus belli, to go and rip apart entire nations and displace tens of millions when we see fit. That's what it was all about, okay? And here it is, a perfect demonstration of this. And still talk about dumbasses online, still talk about Hasan is talking to terrorists. Hasan is defending terrorists. Like, what do you mean, bro? This is David Petraeus. What do you mean? David Petraeus doing a collab with Al Qaeda, and you're over here being like, the Houthis are terrorists. The Houthis are terrorists. Are you insane? In New York. Yeah, here's the U.S. Embassy in Syria in 2017 offering. We remain committed to bringing AQS figures in HTS to justice. Mohammed al-Jablani. So many people don't even know this, too. They just think like, they just don't know. I've had a conversation with like normies about this shit where I'll be like, did you know this guy was Al-Qaeda? And they're like, what? They can't believe it. They're like, that's unbelievable. I know it doesn't matter, but it was Al-Qaeda, not ISIS. Either way, he's not the person I'd pick either, but he's the person we have, and he doesn't Al-Qaeda. He hasn't done Al-Qaeda shit yet. He's reformed, man. He's reformed. It's just funny because, like, I'm talking, first of all, I'm talking more so about the designation and how these groups are utilized in the region for destabilization, okay? And how, like, even Israel in Gaza has worked openly with ISIS affiliates, right? They have no issue working with ISIS affiliates. Israel has also collaborated with ISIS or ISIS affiliate groups in Syria, right? But then October 7 happens and they're like, Hamas is ISIS, Hamas is ISIS. Like, what the am I supposed to do with this information? Sometimes it feels like I'm the only that doesn't like ISIS or Al-Qaeda. You know what I mean? It kind of feels like the CIA, the American State Department, the Israeli government, they don't actually hate ISIS at all. You know what I mean? New top congressional GOP and White House allies are working behind the scenes to prevent a politically charged floor vote to release the government's Jeffrey Epstein case files next month. Multiple sources tell me. Oh my Lord. Al-Qaeda is on our side in Syria. Jake Sullivan to Hillary Clinton, 2012. State Department memo obtained and published by WikiLeaks. Imagine being one of the thousands of Americans who were told you had to risk your life to destroy Al-Qaeda, only to die doing so, and then watch your own government welcome a longtime Al-Qaeda leader to your own country and have General Petraeus gently ask how he's holding up. If you don't understand that America's war on terror was simply for it was blood and soil politics, and it was simply for material gains for the super wealthy in this goddamn country. If this image is not a wake-up call for you, I don't know what the to tell you. You're a dumbass, okay? All of the racism that you're hopped up on is the only thing that keeps you going. This is why we say wars are not fought to be won, okay? Can you explain why Hamas is a resistance group while Al-Qaeda is considered terroristic? Both are consequences of imperial action. Easy, asked and answered. 1, affiliations with not only the CIA, but also State Department allies that have no business in the regions that it operates. 2, a colonial interest in taking over territory that it does not belong to Al-Qaeda or ISIS, okay? Hamas has never operated outside of the boundaries of historic Palestine. They have never done that. Never done that at all. Emancipatory movement against Israel, which is a settler colonial operation. Al-Qaeda and ISIS, on the other hand, have grand ambitions beyond like, I don't know, resisting against, I don't know who they would be resisting against, honestly. They love doing terror attacks in the Western world. They want to build an Islamic caliphate or some version of an Islamic caliphate. And they just prop up wherever it is in the best interest of the United States of America to have an enemy that they must squash. In the month marking 9/11's anniversary, former CIA Director David Petraeus tells the former Syrian Al-Qaeda leader and now Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa, a.k.a. Mohammed al-Jalani, that your success is our success. Petraeus also gushes that Jalani's record since taking power has validated Petraeus' policy of supporting the Al-Qaeda-dominated insurgency's regime change war. Does Petraeus feel validated that Jalani's forces have hundreds of people in sectarian, as they also did throughout the CIA-sponsored dirty war? Presumably. What's more a mystery is why former CIA chief is praising former Al-Qaeda leader who recently had a $10 million bounty on his head isn't attracting any controversy or self-reflection for those cheered on the CIA's success. The sectarians that he's referencing are well, if you listen to what Jolani has said, outside of his control, but it was the same forces. Syria is a hotbed of radicalization due to the civil war that took place and due to all of the outside trained elements that exist still in Syria. Okay? Turkey plays a big role in this. Obviously, the Free Syrian Army is comprised of Salafists, jihadists of all different backgrounds, for the record, literally from all the way from the region down to Uyghurs. Okay, they have Chinese Salafists in the Free Syrian Army. That shit is crazy. It is a hotbed of sectarian violence. Anyway, did you see Al-Jilani's speech today? First person he thanked was Turkey, of course, because Turkey is the reason why HTS is now in power in Syria. I've been saying this. That is also part of the reason why Western powers did not even remotely criticize Recep Tayyip Erdogan for prosecuting and arresting the main opposition leader, who was the governor of Istanbul, okay? Which is a supremely important position in Turkish politics. He just straight up locked his ass up. The most popular opposition figure in Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, straight up threw in jail, okay, over ridiculous claims. And not a single Western leader turned around after so many protests took place in Turkey. Not a single Western leader turned around and said, "Oh, what are you doing? That you can't do that. That's crazy." Do you want to know why? That's because that was a gift to Recep Tayyip Erdogan. He can currently do whatever the he wants. The reason why he can currently do whatever he wants is because of Syria, because that was a major gift to both Israel and America. Okay? Ordu'da filan değilse ortalama bir Amerikalı'nın Suriye dönenlerini anlaması mümkün değil. Anyway, man, you must never want to go back. I do. Of course I do. I want to go back. I want to see my family. But it's, that doesn't mean I'm going to lie. A new HRW report on Syria documents widespread abuse by government force, including summary executions, deliberate destruction of property, and abuse of detainees. These findings show that these crimes unfolded within a framework of centrally coordinated military operation directed by the Defense Ministry, whose officials continued to coordinate deployments even after the mass became public. The Human Rights Watch report, March atrocities demand senior level accountability from the Human Rights Watch. They're talking about the Syrian transitional government. Someone said, Kyle, open the fridge again. You liars. This was the Alawite communities getting after the Syrian transitional government took power. There were a lot of revenge that took place. Jolani was that it was not done under his control. There's also the Druze. Turks want to take out the Kurds. Israel wants to use the Druze population in Syria to their advantage. Syria is a fucking powder keg. Okay, I've been saying it. It is a goddamn powder keg waiting to fucking explode, with numerous regional actors salivating at the prospect of taking over control over Syria in its entirety. The HTS-backed government is thankful for Turkey, it seems, but if you ask the Turks, they're not happy about it either, because I think one of the things that they did, a symbolic thing that the Syrian government did that they were very pissed off about, I'm not so certain exactly how this took place, but apparently they put a visa fee on Turks going to Syria, which was like $200 or something, and a lot of Turks were pissed off about that. I want Syria to have democratic elections, okay? I want Syria to have democratic elections. I want Syria to be a sovereign nation. And these sorts of initiatives don't give me a lot of confidence that Syria will ever have a moment of peace. Yeah, meanwhile, Israel is also doing Israel shit. Israeli defense minister officially declares Syrian territory of Mount Hermon a part of Greater Israel. Also, if you remember, Israel literally bombed fucking Damascus like a couple months ago. So even when you have an American-backed puppet state that is in control of Syria, it's still receiving unlimited death and destruction from the other regional allies of the United States of America. I don't know if al-Shaddad was involved in the massacres. He could have been for sure, but his military force is made up of people close to his command, but also directly commanded Turkish puppets, foreign Salafists, local sectarian militias, and soldiers for hire. Syria's state institutions barely exist because of the war, and Assad hollowed it out into a narco trafficking ring. Yes, I know. I understand that. I'm just saying that as it stands currently, there's a shit ton of Syrian people that I'm sure would welcome the democratic process and would want it to take place. The problem is it is also a multicultural and multi-ethnic society with many warring factions within it because of the way that British and French colonialists designed the entire region. This is the same reason why Lebanon is the way it is. It's the same reason why all of these countries are the way that they are. Oftentimes, they would take this like multi-ethnic society and they would place a reliable minority group in charge of everybody else. But ultimately, I think the biggest hurdle for success in Syria, for democracy to thrive in Syria, is Israel. Not to be the guy, and Turkey certainly is not helpful either, but I think Turkey probably would want more stability in Syria than Israel does. Anyway, can you explain the whole visa thing that is causing people to get off planes and shit? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, the H-1B thing? Yeah, and the electoral system they set up does not exactly encourage confidence. As far as I understand, it's an electoral college based on local leadership and delegates instead of direct election. Turkey's only concern is the Kurds. They don't give a fuck about the Syrians. Yes and no. You said Israel instead of Turkey? No, I'm saying Israel does not want a stable Syria. Turkey doesn't necessarily care about a stable Syria. It doesn't mind a stable Syria as long as they have control over Kurdish